All right, I think we are live, Ben. We have several people already in the room over here. So, guys, you are in chat. You're going to see Ben and I today, but the chat is active. So, welcome, Ben Stein. Thank you for joining us from Keeper. We love, 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 love your program. And a lot of us really, we want to know more about the new stuff that you've done. So we know basic Keeper, but I know you've really done some revamping. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, yeah, one is thank you so much for Stephanie for having me on today, and then everyone else who is joining or watching afterwards. Thank you all for spending your time with me here. I'll try and make it worthwhile. So I'll go ahead and get started with just like a high level quick tour. It sounds like many people on this stream may already use Keeper or know of Keeper, so we'll try not to be super redundant and belabor the point there. But just a high level overview. Sometimes that's even helpful, even if you use Keeper and you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So I'll do that, and then we'll open things up to Q&A. Can talk about some of the more advanced functionality that we've shipped recently, how to use it, and then if people have any additional questions at the end, happy to open it back up to those. All right. Well, with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if I can find that. Let's see. New platforms, always. Oh, there we go, present. Okay. Stephanie, can you see my screen? Hey, Stephanie, can you see my screen here? I don't know. I maybe like sort of have the floor. Just want to make sure I don't like launch headfirst into a demo that only I can see. Maybe. Okay. Okay. How about now, Stephanie? Okay. Apologies, folks. We may have some technical difficulties here. Hold on. All right. So technical technical issues resolved. Sorry about the issues there, but thank you all so much for your patience. So without further ado, this is Keeper. If you have not seen Keeper before, Keeper is a month-end close manager. That means it is a suite of tools designed to help you streamline and automate the month-end close. The unique thing about Keeper is that it's directly integrated to your client's accounting software, and that lets us power a lot of automations to run things better than the manual way you may be doing them today. So right here, we're looking at the close page. The close page is where basically you'll do all your work. So there's the client listing keeper. That's more of a dashboard if you want to see what to work on next, or you want to see how all your team is working on if you work with a team. But this is really the main place where you do work in Keeper. And so what's on this page? So the first thing that you see up at the top is these 3 tiles. We call these the client communications tiles. If you have a question for your client, if your client uploads a file for you, or you need to request something from one of your client's vendors, you'll do that up here. And then when your clients respond, you'll also access the responses here as well. Below the client communications, you have all of your tasks. And your tasks is where you can put all of the work that you need to do for each client. Excuse me. We break this down into 2 core sections, your non-closing tasks sections, and then your closing tasks sections. Non-closing tasks is, of course, anything that is not tied to the close. So this could be year-end work, this could be payroll work, this could be one-off expense reimbursements or bill payments or anything else. And so you basically just put all of those up here. And you can, for manual tasks, just choose when they're due. And for recurring tasks, you can choose how frequently those repeat. And below your non-closing tasks, you have all of your closing sections. Your closing sections are where all of your, basically where you run your close and organize and run your close end to end. So some of this is pure workflow. So things like your data entry here, for example. This is the section that's in my close page where I say this is like enter all the data into the ledger. So fetch and post bank entries. This is a particular journal entry for entering data in from Stripe. Some of you may do this automatically. I do this manually. This is our real process here that we use at month end. And so this is really pure workflow. But below that, when you get to the account reconciliation sections, this is where you can start to see some of the power of how we used your client's QuickBooks data inside Keeper. Okay, so the account reconciliations still have to be done in QuickBooks or Xero, but this can act as a great list and also a great file storage system for all of your files that are related to your supporting statements. So basically, here we have all of our bank and credit card accounts. You can also add revenue accounts, other balance sheet accounts that you reconcile here. And Keeper will automatically pull in all of your balances of those accounts at month end, the date of the last reconciled transaction, and then you can also click in to see the register as well. One of the things we recommend doing is if you want to use Keeper for storing your files, you can actually drag and drop and upload the file. So the Brex cash statement, the Chase checking statement, and the reconciliation report right here to this task. And then that's going to automatically tie basically that file to this account in this client for this period that you're working on. All right. And then below that, we have the review. So the review is really where the data that we pull in from QuickBooks and or Xero really comes into the full usage in Keeper. So here we break this out into 3 separate sections: the transaction, payee, and final review. Each one of these contain reports to help you catch and correct potential classification errors, vendor errors like duplicate vendors, issues on the P&L or balance sheet. So we'll go over a couple of these from each section. And to start, let's look at the expense inconsistency report in the transaction review. Okay, so this report is looking at all of your client's vendors. This report is looking at all of your transactions in your client's file over the last month, and it's cross-referencing those against similar historical transactions in prior periods. Basically, the way that this works is it looks at the vendor, it looks at the statement descriptor, it looks at the expense account, and then it sees any similar transactions in prior periods, And if there are any inconsistencies, so Zoom we can see is classified office supplies here. To click for more information, we click this arrow here on the left, and Keeper will tell us what's inconsistent. So in this case, Zoom is classified to software, but in the current month, it's Zoom is always coded to software, but in the current month, it's classified to office supplies. One of the really nice things about Keeper is everything is read-write. So you see a cell here, you can just type in the cell you want to edit, hit enter, and that'll instantly sync the change back to QuickBooks. Sometimes you need your client's input on transactions, and Keeper is here to help out with that as well. So we have our uncategorized transactions report that pulls in any transactions in a suspense account. Although I should mention, you can ask your client about any question or any transaction throughout any place in any report in Keeper. It doesn't just need to be here. But if you see a transaction you need your client's input on, you can just click Ask Client, add that question to the client portal, and you can even use a template question here as well. So if there's something you're commonly asking, like is this business or personal, or can you please give us a receipt, or just a plain old what is this for, you can add those here as well. And then once you add that to the portal, it's available in your client's portal where they can go to give you feedback. And now we'll tap over into that portal, and I'll show you what that client experience looks like as well. So this is the client's portal. The first thing that you'll notice is this portal can be completely custom branded. So you can put it behind your firm's own domain with your logo, your color scheme, and even integrate your email so that any questions you send to your clients or emails you send to your clients come directly from you rather than from any sort of Keeper branding. And then here we can see the transaction question that we asked our clients about just a second ago, but we can also see that our clients have access to any other question we have. They can ask us questions here as well. They can upload files for us. They can view any files we've uploaded, including a special section for their financial reports. All right, so if we look at that transaction question, our clients can see here, we asked, what is this for? They can add a comment, upload a file, view any files here. And once they add their comment, we'll get notified so that we can take action back in Keeper. One of the really nice things about this portal is that it is just a link that your clients need to click. So it's Magic Link authenticated. So your clients just get a link in their email, and they click that email, and it takes them directly into the portal. They don't need to mess around with setting up a username or password or any of those other hurdles that commonly impede adoption to getting in and accessing the portal. And the other really nice thing is if they don't log into the portal, you can set up automated email reminders to automatically notify your clients about any outstanding unanswered questions. You can also send them text reminders if that is their preferred communication method. All right, and once your clients respond, you'll see their answers here in the client communication section. So that is, if you're at the top, that's this tile right here. You will also see it down here wherever the transaction lives. So basically, that response is tied to the transaction. But for ease of use, we recommend just going to this tile right here. And here we can see the questions our clients have, the questions we've asked our clients. We can see the answer our clients gave us here. We can post our client's answer to the memo, and that will append it to the memo inside of QuickBooks. If we need more information, we can, of course, respond to ask a follow-up question. And, of course, we can reclassify that transaction, and that'll instantly sync the change back to QuickBooks. The last thing we need to do here is mark this as resolved, and that will just move it here to our resolved section, so we can always see the list of resolved transactions, resolved questions, and what our clients' answers were. All right. Beyond client communications, we also have vendor communications. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about one of the most common reports that is used to generate those, and that is in the Payee entity review, the Prepared 1099s report. This report is designed to help you stay on top of your client's vendor list. So here we can see all of our vendors sorted in descending order of spend, excluding any spend that's on credit cards, excluding any spend that's in any non-reportable accounts. You can customize what list you deem to be non-reportable, and then excluding any vendors under $600 in total IRS eligible spend. And so what you're left with is a list of all the vendors who you may need a 1099 for. Important to note, we will pull whatever data we can from QuickBooks or Xero and push all of that data back to QuickBooks or Xero as well. So email, address, tax ID, and 1099 needed status all sync bidirectionally. And then if you see this little QB no or QBS column or sort of icon here up in the top right, that corresponds to the checkbox that says track for 1099 purposes. So if you move this from unknown to yes, it's going to check the box in QuickBooks. Important thing to call out here, a checkbox in QuickBooks only has 2 states, whereas in Keeper we have 3. And so we have this third unknown state that basically lets you look at every client and know really quickly whether you've reviewed them and they don't need a 1099 because let's say they are a C Corp or a corporation or they only sell supplies and materials. So you can move that to a no while still seeing all of the unknown vendors that you've not yet reviewed. All right. And if you are missing information, you can actually go ahead and request that directly from the vendor. So you can just click this Ask Vendor button right here, add a vendor request, email the vendor, and the vendor email will look something like this. It says like, hi, we're balanced bookkeeping. We do the books for Democo. We need to collect a W-9 from you for their records. And then it gives them a link. And then that link will let them go and upload a W-9. I'll actually show you all what that looks like here. I'm going to uncheck this here. I'll mention you can also CC the client. This can help sometimes with added legitimacy if your clients have not, or if your vendors have never communicated with you before. But okay, so we asked that question, and now I'm just going to copy that link here, and I'll show y'all what that looks like. Okay. So the vendor will get taken to a page that looks like this. If they have a W-9, they can just drag and drop it and upload it right here, or click here to upload one as well. And if they don't, they can click here to fill out a new W-9 button that will let them walk through a form that is the same as the W-9 form, e-sign it at the end, and you will get a e-signed W-9 back for your records that you can then push back to QuickBooks, extract any relevant information from, so their EIN, their address, you can push all that back to the vendor as well. And then one last really nice thing about this page here is you can also advertise your firm services. So if you think about it, a lot of the people you're requesting W-9s from may need that same service at the very least. They may need a way to manage their 1099s or a person to manage their 1099s. And they probably also need bookkeeping services as well. So we just added this link. It's customizable. You can choose what it goes to. You can choose what it says. And basically, you can just put this here in the bottom left-hand corner. And some fraction of all of the people you're already requesting information from can then become warm leads that know what a great job you do of being proactive for collecting documentation. All right. And last but certainly not least, we have our final review. So our final review is where you can review the financial statements as well as some other management reporting like AP and AR aging. And one of the reasons I like this report so much is it's sort of where the quality control meets the advisory. So, and where it's moving beyond just catching errors and into catching genuine business trends that you want to tell your clients about. One of the things we do to help you catch those trends is we automatically flag any income or expense accounts that change significantly from their historical trend. This makes it super easy to spot anything that you want to drill down further on. And then when you do want to drill down, you can just click into the cell and we make that process super easy too. So before I do that, a super common sort of interaction I used to encounter when I was CFO of a startup, and I'm sure many of y'all have encountered as well, is you see something like this, where software is down almost 50% month over month, but you're not really sure why. So you tell the client, you say software is down 50%, and they say why, and you say, great question, let me get back to you on that. And the reason it's not easy is because if you click into this in QuickBooks or you click into it in Xero, you get taken to essentially a slice of the general ledger. You get taken to a list of all the transactions, and we do things in Keeper a little different. So if you click into this, instead of showing you all of the transactions in that account, we show you all of your vendors in that account sorted in descending order of spend. So it's essentially a vendors by spend report. And then we also run those same trend analyses on the vendors. So you can easily see how your spend with different vendors is trending and how that contributes, excuse me, to the overall account level fluctuation as a whole. One of the last really nice things I'll mention here before I will turn things over to Q&A is everything in Keeper is designed to be super collaborative. So if you work with a team, you'll see these comment bubble icons all over the place. You can always leave a comment. You can @tag a team member that will notify them both in-app as well as via email. And you can do that on accounts on the financial statements. You can do that on transactions here as well. You can do that on questions your clients ask you or questions they respond to. So it really is designed to be like this collaborative layer that sits on top of your work so that any questions you have, you can easily discuss as a team before you respond to your clients or make an edit in the ledger. All right. And with that, I can go ahead and stop my share here. And Stephanie, do you want to open up to some of the questions that people had submitted?
Absolutely. Thanks again, Ben. I appreciate it. I know Ben is not feeling the best today, but he showed up, and I greatly, greatly appreciate that. So thank you again, Ben.
Yeah, sorry about that. I actually feel fine, by the way. It's just the persistent cough.
Just the nagging?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I hope it goes away.
Thank you.
So some people sent in some questions before the webinar. And guys, if you still have questions, pop them in the chat. I'm watching those as well. But 2 new things, reporting and metrics. Can you show us a little bit about the new stuff there? Because we have a lot of virtual CFOs in our group or learning to become. So can you show us a little bit about that or tell us anything?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I will share my screen again, and I will probably just take on faith that it is something that people can see this time, rather than going back through the the back and forth there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, so metrics and reporting, they are the other 2 tabs on this page here. If we click the metrics, that is going to take us to Keeper's metrics product. Metrics works very similar to Excel. So you've got cells, you've got, we automatically pull your P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow, and then you can add other custom tabs along the bottom. So those custom tabs can be one of 2 types. They can either be a complete free-form tab where you can add your own variables. Essentially, a variable is like a row. Or you can pull other custom reports from QuickBooks. So if we want to pull something like a profit and loss filtered by class, we can do that here. Or a balance sheet by location, we can do that. So you can build out these custom, essentially slices of your P&L and balance sheet, and then you can reference those values in other custom formulas downstream. Okay, so we talk about what you can do. I'll give maybe a couple of quick examples. Labor as a percentage of sales, I think it is an illustrative one. So basically, Keeper is a Keeper's metrics product allows you to create custom formulas. And the way this formula works is you just reference a variable from any tab. And so the 3 default tabs, your profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow, means you already get by default anything on your chart of accounts. And then statement of cash flow is obviously like a slight modification of the balance sheet accounts. But so this is a good example here. Just to rebuild it here. Excuse me. We have our P&L headcount spend, and then all we need to do is find that essentially in this list here, which you can do. If you just type headcount, it will do a substring match here. And then this is one of the things if you have like multiple different P&Ls filtered by class, this can be a great way if you want to say like, show me the labor for this store or the labor for this department, depending on how you use class. And then here I'm just going to get the whole high level consolidated P&L. So I get headcount spend, and then I just do, again, top level income from the P&L. So that's, I think, a very simple example, but hopefully an illustrative one of the power of what you can do with Keeper's metrics product. So you can build any custom slices of your financials, and then you can use them to create custom KPIs here as well.
Love it. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. One other thing I'll mention is once you created those KPIs, visuals has also gotten a huge new upgrade. So you can do a lot of different visuals here. This I think is best learned by playing around with it. But just to show sort of 3 visuals we have on the page, this is what we call a KPI card. So it's a great way to give like a high level snapshot of a single number. And then this is the comparison versus the prior month. So you can see how things are trending month over month. This is what we call a donut chart, very similar to a pie chart. And we have pie charts as well if you prefer them. A donut chart just has a hole cut out and then the actual amount here in the middle. And then we also have, this is called an area chart. It's just a line chart with some fancy shading at the bottom as well. But you can also use a line chart. But so basically, you just click add a visual here, give it a title, a description if you want, a visual type, and then you select your variables. And then for a KPI card, the one important thing is, so here, I'll take this off. And I'll add this back on. One important thing is it's going to ask you whether up is good or bad. So for everything else, except for a KPI card, you can just ignore this. But with a KPI card, up is good versus up is bad means different things. It basically shows how to color this. So like whether the down or the up is green or red, which is really important for working with small businesses, or like down isn't always necessarily good, or down isn't always necessarily bad. Green isn't always, or up isn't always necessarily good. But yeah, anyway, so I'll add that back in here. So up is good in the case of our cash on hand. And then, of course, you can rename the variable. And yeah, color doesn't matter for KPI cards in particular, but it does matter for graphs. All right. So that's metrics. Metrics flows pretty seamlessly into reporting. Right now, it's just at the bottom here. So basically, the dashboard you create in metrics becomes the dashboard you can produce in your reporting pack. The one other thing I'll mention here is you can add specific page breaks if you want to make sure that like a graph shows up on the top of the next page instead of like at the bottom of the previous page. But otherwise, the management reporting pack should be something you're pretty comfortable with. If you've ever created P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow out of QuickBooks or out of Xero, you can choose how to customize your columns. You can choose what the date range you're working on is. You can round values. You can add footnotes. So yeah, that's the financial package. And then the executive summary is basically a way to give your clients a one-page overview of what's going on in their business.
Love it. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Alicia says, does the customer see the metrics? So Alicia, they do if you add them to the report. So like Ben was just showing right there, they'll be able to see that, whatever you show them. All right, awesome. And I keep getting the same question, Ben, and I know you do too. When is the app coming? We want an app. When are we going to get an app?
Yeah, I think this is one of the most ironic things given our domain name is that we don't have an app. So it is, I can't promise a timeline, but it is definitely something that we are working on both for the clients and for the bookkeepers. Clients, obviously, so they can have something to download on their phone. And then you also, that if you were on the go and your team asks you a question or your client asks you a question, that you can respond to that without needing to go back to your computer.
Awesome. So it's coming, guys. It's coming.
Yeah, be patient. I appreciate it. But we haven't forgotten about this. It's definitely important.
All right. So when we offboard a client, what is the best way to handle that in Keeper so we're not losing all of that data, but we're not paying the $10 a month every month?
Yeah. So this is like a sort of time, this being, I don't know, September 26th, sort of have a different answer today than I will have soon. That's because we are working on archiving clients. I know people who are longtime customers of Keeper have said, yeah, they've said that for like 2 years or whatever. But I promise you, we are actually working on it this time. We've got like all the designs marked out, and we're working on getting it live. So when that goes live, there will just be an archive button, and you press the archive button, and you get to keep all the data, but it doesn't charge you. What we recommend doing in the meantime is there's a couple of things you can do. First and foremost, download your client's communication. So basically, come here to client communication. Every report can be downloaded, so export it to a CSV. And then what we also recommend is actually not on the close page, but here on the task list. If you want to sort of copy, here's all the tasks we've done. We can search for demo co. Actually, just filter like this. Get all the demo co tasks. Excuse me. And then we will also filter for completed and not completed tasks. And then we just export that to a CSV as well. So that'll make sure you got all the work you've done and all of the communication you've had with your clients. So yeah, that's what we recommend for now. Although I will mention this again, we are 100% working on archiving clients.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Let's see. Next thing, and someone actually posted it here too. Rumor has it we have a receipt management feature coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure how much they want me to elaborate on that, but the rumors are true. We're definitely working on receipt management. So yeah, hopefully we have more to share on that private beta in the next month or so, and hopefully a live general launch in November.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. We already talked about that. So some bookkeepers here are subcontractors for multiple bookkeepers. And some of them are my coaching clients, and I hear all the time it becomes cumbersome to switch back and forth between all the different keepers. Is there a solution, or is there a better way to do it than what we
there is not. I assume everyone who is asking this question is familiar with the +1 email workaround, which is certainly suboptimal. It is something that we're working on as we have started working with more and more customers who are subcontractors, or maybe where their entire business is outsourced consulting or outsourced accounting. So anyways, we are that one might be a little bit further out, but definitely something we are working on as well.
Okay, awesome. And the last thing I have before, and I know there's some in the chat, but questions on file management. Mm-hmm. Is that something in the works where it looks a little smoother? I know a lot of us are moving from Google Drive or something like that.
So basically in Keeper, we have this concept of auto-organized files, which I think is really time-saving for some files and really mind-bendingly bad for others. So short version is we're working on an improvement. The improvement to files should happen before the receipt management functionality even. So very near-term future. It's actively in engineering. But yeah, well aware that that's very constraining. And all I can say is in the next, hopefully 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll have a file management system that's much more what you're used to using with folders and subfolders and files that you can drag around to go wherever you want them to go.
Yay! That makes me excited. I know. Awesome. All right, let's see what we have over here in the questions. All right, so Lakeisha said, can you download the reports into Excel or Google Sheets?
This is one of the lovely things about accounting is reports can mean 3 or 4 different things. So I will, I guess I'd ask Lakeisha, I don't know if I can ask a follow-up question here. Do you mean the management reports, the metrics pages, or the file review reports?
Okay, so Lakeisha, post that in the comment, and we're going to come back to that question so we can make sure all your questions are answered here. Let's see. Becky wants to know if the client needs to sign up for an account to see their portal for the chat feature. Does the client see that, or just internal?
Okay, I think that's 2 questions. Does the client need to sign up for an account to use their portal, and for the chat feature, do your client see that, or is that internal? So
I think it's 2 questions.
Yeah. First one, does the client need to sign up to a portal to use the portal? No, that's one of the best things about Keeper is that basically you send them the link and they just click the link and it'll take them right here into their inbox. So if it's their first time ever, you invite them to the portal, I'm going to just sign out of the portal here so y'all can see what that full experience looks like. All right. So let's pretend that this is a brand new user, brand new contact, brand new client. We want to send them an email, say we just rolled out this new portal. Basically, just click send, or you can send it for later. But you send this email here. And let me go ahead and pull that up in Gmail as well. Right. So our client gets an email that looks like this. They can click that link. And then basically this link is going to take them to basically authenticate the portal. That just means they need to prove ownership so that if someone got to this page somewhere else, they couldn't get access to their data. But if you have access to the email, that's all you need. And with that, they can sign in with Google or sign in with email. Sign in with email is the one we see most commonly. And basically what that does is it requests a magic link. And so that will send a second email that looks like this. It says log into your portal. They click this button. This works on web or on mobile, and it will take them directly into the portal. And at that point, they're done. So they'll be in the portal. They can see the answers. They can see any questions you've asked, any files you've uploaded. And then also the really nice thing is if they close out of this and then go back to it, even if they don't click the magic link, excuse me, again, but they just go back to your portal, they'll be taken right into the portal. So same way you don't need to like log into Facebook every single time you go to facebook.com. It works similarly for the portal.
Hey, thank you, Ben.
Lakeisha, I didn't answer the second question.
You didn't, did you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, client commenting. Okay, so if you see a comment option anywhere, so like just using this one for example, you'll always see this little blue badge that says these comments are not seen by your clients. Because we have both an internal and external commenting system, this is one of the most common questions we get asked. And so every time you ask a question externally, you won't see that badge. Every time you are just communicating internally, you will see this badge.
Absolutely. So it gets rid of Slack or anything else that you're using. Everything is right here in Keeper. Yep.
Exactly.
Love it. Lakeisha's question about the downloading of reports to Excel. She's talking about the profit and loss in the balance sheet.
Got it. Okay. So we don't have a direct Excel export of the P&L and balance sheet. Although one slight workaround here, excuse me, you can actually just copy and paste the data from metrics into Excel, and this works just fine. So not a direct Excel export. Something we would like to add, although maybe a little bit lower priority than some of the other things we've talked about, like archiving clients and switching between user accounts. But for now, if you want, you can copy and paste these values.
Awesome. Thank you. Michelle asked if there is a code. I'm assuming you mean for a cheaper rate. And the answer to that is yes, Michelle. I will send you my affiliate link. Ben is amazing when it comes to that. So there is a discount code I can send you for that. That was receipt management. Everybody is saying yay about the file management over here in chat. Everybody's so excited about that. Let's see what else here. Oh, somebody wants to know, how does the timekeeping work? Can you show us that briefly, Ben?
Yeah. So timekeeping is designed to be pretty simple. We've just got a timer here up on the right. Because it is also a workflow platform, we can do a little bit of the legwork for you. So we can say, okay, when you click start timer, if you're on the close page, you're working on demo code because that's the client you're in. You're working on the close that you're working on. And then you can add your notes here as well. So I use this for like super shorthand, for just like, here's what I'm working on right now. I'll give you a good example. So I do our closing keeper. And so as a result, these are like the real notes that I use when I'm running our close. So I'll show y'all what that looks like just for the latest month. So Jensen's our business. So basically that's bank statements, and then I did bank feed coding, and then I did Stripe data entry, employee reimbursements, our prepaids and fixed assets, reconciliations, the keeper review, our metrics and reporting, and then lastly, I paid out our affiliates, which was not strictly speaking part of a close, but it's part of our close. But anyway, so that's like what I'd recommend putting in the notes. That's also a really good example to see if you just want to like get back into a timer to edit it. You can click this little clock icon right here to go and see your timers. Although on the previous page, there's a full time tracking and time tracking reporting button as well. So yeah, you can start a timer if it's separately. This is like sort of oriented around value-based pricing. So like fixed fee pricing where you don't need to be like clocking by the minute. So it's more for internal analytics about what's taking time. Excuse me. But if you do have separately itemized billable work, you can just mark this as billable for export later. And then one last thing I'll mention here is time tracker notifications. If you want to make sure that everyone in the firm is always tracking their time when they're in Keeper, you can turn on time tracker notifications, and then that will prompt you anytime you're on a client's close page to start your time. And if you switch if you switch clients and you're tracking time for, let's say, demo code, but you're in like Keeper Test 2, it will prompt you to switch your client's timers as well.
I really like that because I always forget myself. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Here's another question, Ben. I have a client that owns 2 businesses using the same email for both. Will they have any issues with the portal because of this?
No, it's a great question. And in fact, the email, like the example portal I was showing here earlier actually supports this directly. So if you give them access to 2 businesses, basically they can just toggle between them like this. And so they'll also see if they're in one file, they'll see, hey, you have 7 questions in this one, 7 in this one, and 2 in this one. One thing I will mention, if you do try to go add a new contact here that already exists in another business, it will error out on this page. So basically what you have to do is you go to your practice settings, client portal, and then all contacts right here. And then you can see the clients list and you can add the other business so that they should have access to one, and you can add the other one from here as well.
Awesome. I love that. 2-factor authentication. Does it send them a text with a verification code? How is the 2FA working?
It does, yes.
Perfect. And Catherine asks, is there any chance the hourly rate option will be added to client rates in the timekeeper data?
Yeah, we are working on some time tracking improvements across a number of different axes, and that should be one of them.
Awesome. All right. I think that is it. I'm not sure if I see any more. Well, here's you a good one, Ben. Someone says that they dislike me for showing them Keeper because they may have to abandon the ClickUp ship. So I have done that already, Becky, in my firm. So jump ship and go to Keeper 100%.
And if you need any help with that, Keeper is here to help. So happy to answer any questions in the chat if you have them. So in here, that'll give you a quick, should be 5-10 minute response time for any issues you may have. And then we can also set up a dedicated call to help you walk you through some of the new features in Keeper, as well as help you look at your ClickUp, look at your Keeper, and talk you through how that transition would work as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. I will say, just from my own experience and from my coaching clients, Ben, everyone loves your customer service. Like, there is not another program out there that I have worked with that the service is as great as yours is. And you listen to us too, and you make improvements based on what we want. So I mean, I can't scream enough praises about your program.
Thank you. Well, I think honestly, that like customer service is a pretty straightforward, just rule of thumb for us. We try to be the vendors we wish we could work with. So we spend hundreds of thousands a year on software for our team internally. And so we've worked with some vendors that are amazing to work with and some vendors that are just absolutely terrible. And you're looking at your bill and you're like, I still can't get a hold of a real human being and a real email and a quick answer to my question, which we think is just ridiculous. So we strive to be the absolute best vendor experience so that you can have the best possible experience as you're getting started with Keeper. And if God forbid you have a question that you need help with, that you can get a quick answer to that as well.
Yes. Thank you, Ben. I mean, we've been in it for over 25 years and I've never experienced a better software company as you guys. So awesome. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yes. Well, again, Ben, thank you for being here, even with the cough. So thank you. Thank you. Hope that goes away and you're feeling a little bit better. Everyone, I will send you an email afterwards. This will be recorded, so it will be replayed. And if you have not jumped ship to Keeper, reach out to me. Let me get you that affiliate link so you can get on there with Ben. You won't regret it. That I can promise you. So hope everybody has a good day, and I'll talk with you soon. Ben, do you have anything else to say?
No, just thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to chat with y'all and speak about Keeper for the last 40, 50 odd minutes. And Stephanie, thank you again so much for having me on.
Of course, Ben. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great rest of your day.
Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.